Hey, it's Robin J.M. Anderson here, and today I have a very special guest. This is Andy Wilson with DNVR Financial. Hi, Andy. How are you today?
Good. How are you, Jam?
Good. Tell us, just for people who may not know you yet, tell us a little bit about yourself and your business and where you're coming from.
Sure. Yeah, I have my own advisory practice here in Denver, Colorado. I've been doing this I've been doing it since 2018. I started off in the insurance world with Principal for about 10 years, and then went to John Hancock for 3 years, primarily working in their life insurance division and calling on advisors. And then in 2018, my daughter was 18 months old, and then started my own practice, and have been doing it ever since.
Love it. Well, congrats. I know that's a big feat to create your own business. Well, thanks for being here because I have been showing all of my friends at Libra how to use AI, but because I'm not actually in this space, it doesn't really land all the time. So I thought it'd be awesome to talk to people in the industry and actually learn how you're using AI, when you started using it, and what sort of tools you have on your AI tool stack these days. So, sound
Yeah,
good?
that sounds great. Yeah, I have been after preparing for our meeting today, I started to go through all of the different ways that I'm using it, and I'm like, oh, I'm actually using it a lot. Even ChatGPT told me, like, no, you're like deep into this. And so it's not replacing any type of judgment or anything. It's mostly just like as far as my advice. But what it does is it helps streamline my business and my practice. Like I had an intern for a short time last year. He helped me with a lot of data inputs and things like that. But now I'm at the point where I'm using it as an sort of as an assistant,
Mhm.
and to help make things move a little faster. And in this world, there's a lot of, especially when you have a securities license, there's a lot of compliance involved. And so obviously, you want to make sure that your client's information is well protected. And so I switched last year from a a different BGA that was maybe a little bit more conservative, where to now with Osaic. And it seems like while there's still compliance there, I'm able to do some more things for my clients as it comes to AI. Now, I'm not plugging in client information into this, but I'm mostly using
Sure.
it to help streamline my business, help me prepare for business, and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's super helpful with the data, but then also the business development side of your business and marketing as well. I know a lot of people in this industry don't really see it as marketing, but a lot of the activities that we do for business development could be categorized as marketing, just like writing blogs or creating a new website or landing pages. Like that's all stuff that I know a lot of these folks at Libra have been playing with as well. So, okay, I have a fun question.
Hmm.
Think all the way back. What is the very first AI tool you used, and do you remember what you asked it to do?
Oh, geez, it was probably ChatGPT. And do I remember what I asked it to do? It was probably something silly like hey, my fridge isn't working right, or my fridge is making this sound. What do I do? Or something
Yeah.
like that. And then all of a sudden, here comes these YouTube links, and it's asking me like, oh, well, what kind of fridge do you have, and things like that. And I was like, the responses you got back from it were so fast that I was like, oh, this is better than Googling it and trying to spend all this time to figure out how to do it.
Yeah. I like asking this question because I find when I go speak to large groups, some people say they tried it and they didn't like it or they thought it didn't work well or something. But if you
Mhm.
think back to like 2023 Chat GPT versus now, the stuff we were asking it to do was like rewrite an email in a different tone or like help me figure out why my sink is broken. And now it's such a true partner as far as going out and doing things and researching and writing. And so I always like to
You
ask
just
that question.
reminded me, Jam. I think I first started asking it. I was like, "Hey, can you write this up in the voice of George Clooney or something like that?"
Yeah.
And so then
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm reading it as if it's like the voice of George Clooney. Yeah.
Yep. That was always the fun prompt. I used to put all my content in the tone of Chelsea Handler just to make everything a little bit more
Yes.
fun and snotty. So,
That's funny.
okay, so talk to us now about some use cases in your everyday workday that you're using AI for.
Yeah, so I have a lot. I still go back to ChatGPT as sort of like a daily workflow
Hmm.
kind of thing. I have a task. They came out with tasks maybe a year or two ago, where you can put that prompt in, and so every morning at 9 a.m. it sends me like a little market update, and so it tells me what's going on with the markets. And then specifically, I asked it every Tuesday morning to give me like a marketing idea to promote on LinkedIn. I haven't. It's been giving me ideas, and some of them are okay, and some of them I don't use. But it is kind of nice to know, like, okay, every morning at 9 a.m. we're gonna get this email, or excuse me, not an email, but notification that I've got a new chat coming in. It's telling me what's going on with the markets. The other thing I use ChatGPT for is it assists me with, like you had mentioned, blog posts earlier. So I just redid my website,
Hmm.
um,
Looks
and
great, by the way. Checked it
yeah,
out.
thank you. And I wanted to get more interactive on that.
Hmm.
And so, like, for example, the other day I was at the school and talking to a parent who works for a large corporation, and he also has a side business. And then I immediately started thinking like, oh, I just did this solo 401k for this one individual, but this guy can do a 401k through the corporation. He can get the company match, but then he may not be getting all of the benefits of the employer
Mm.
contributions. And
Yeah.
I just started chatting with ChatGPT about it. And what's cool about ChatGPT is that I could get in the car and tap a button and actually have a conversation with it on my way home.
Yeah.
And so you can have a conversation with it, and then you ask it questions back and forth. Well, could you do this? Could you do that? And and I was like, oh, I have all these pages of questions. Hey, could we turn this conversation into a blog post? And it's like, sure. And then in 20 seconds, here comes my blog post. And then 80% of the work is done. I'll go in and review it. And then, well, obviously, I'm not putting in the client name or anything. It's just
Hmm.
the concept. And then send it to compliance. And then now with my new website and my system, I can have it uploaded as soon as compliance approves it. So that's kind of nice.
That is so cool. That's such a good use case of that as far as like brainstorming with ChatGPT and then asking it to create a blog from what you guys talked about. I love that.
Right.
And just so you know, blogging seemed to be very like 2013, but now it's more important than ever because of the GEO, so generative engine optimization. So, how LLMs are recommending companies' products and services is by reading through new content like blogs. So, the fact that you're blogging and staying on top of it is huge because a lot of people quit and they're realizing they need to start again.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
what else are you doing?
And that, well, same thing with ChatGPT. When we talked about, I just updated my website.
Hmm.
I'm trying to do all this marketing, and really, the marketing is sort of like using my website as a hub. Like if we're
Hmm.
talking about like a bike wheel, you've been in marketing a long time, so you know the hub is sort of my website, right? And so then it's the different spokes of trying to get people to the website. So it's the blog posts. Some advisors do YouTube videos. I haven't done that yet. But now I'm getting into the weeds with ChatGPT about like SEO and AEO, like you were just
Hmm.
talking about. Like, how can I teach myself to do these things on the back end,
Yeah.
where normally I wouldn't have a clue where to start.
Yeah. Well, good for you for understanding the marketing hub. And
Right.
it's funny,
Yes.
like, I work with all sorts of small business owners, but it's interesting because, you go into your field of practice, whatever that might be, and you get really good at that. You guys all pass so many tests and get certifications and work so hard. And then when you're finally in it, you realize you have to be a marketing professional too all of a sudden. And it's not fair.
Right.
But you're doing a good
Yes.
job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One thing that comes up a lot in your industry is I know you already mentioned compliance, but also just security and data, security around data. What do you do just to kind of put guardrails in place in your own practice to just make sure you're staying in compliance when you use these tools?
Sure. I primarily am only using tools that are approved with my broker-dealer.
Hmm.
If I am using a tool that's not approved, another thing I'm using ChatGPT for is to help with um, like emails,
Hmm.
where maybe a client has a question, I type up a response, and then I'm like, you know what? I don't know if my tone sounds okay or not.
Hmm.
So I'll copy it and I'll paste it, but I'm not including any of the names
Yeah.
of the clients or anything in there.
Hmm.
And so that's essentially it. If I'm using something that's not approved in compliance with, I'm trying to get more information. I don't. I just don't put any of the client information in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great practice. I mean, for anything on the internet, keep your
Hmm.
clients and your social security number and your credit card number secure. Um, there's a lot of tools now that are taking compliance much more serious than they used to. Like, not so much for your client information, but I'm not sure if you've used Manus yet. Have you used that before?
I'm not familiar with that one. No.
Oh, okay. Well, Manus is another LLM type tool. And if you were to put something in that it thinks it shouldn't know about, it actually will tell you in the conversation, like, hey, that seems like private information. Could you add it to this key? So it makes like these little keys for you. And it's a
Hmm.
private key. And then it says, once you do that, I'm going to delete our conversation up to like, it'll give you a timestamp. So
Oh wow.
yeah, it's interesting how, these companies who are creating the AI, they've heard that we're nervous about that stuff. So they're
Sure.
also trying to come up with ways to make it better. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me how AI has changed just kind of like how you prep for client meetings.
Yes, great question. So I just, after moving to Osaic, I don't know if you're familiar. Um, there's a lot of new note-taking apps.
Mhm.
Like even when you log into Zoom now, it says, "Hey, do you want me to take notes for you on this?" And so in our world, obviously from a compliance standpoint, there's a couple different ones that we're approved to use. One of them is Jump AI. Another one is called Zox. I just started using Zox a couple of weeks ago, and what Zox does is not only it jumps into my notes, so if I'm in a meeting, it will automatically come in. If I'm on a phone call, I can add it to the phone call, and it's not. I don't know the entirety of the behind the scenes of it, Jam. I just know it's not recording the entirety of the call, but it's taking snippets out of it. So when I'm meeting with a client, obviously we're going to be talking about, okay,
Mhm.
well, what's your date of birth? What's your social security number?
Yeah.
And things like that. How it helps me is this integrates with my CRM, which is Redtail. It integrates with eMoney, which I use for the retirement planning,
Hmm.
and it integrates with another system that I use called Plan that helps with taxes.
Mm.
And I have the meeting and I can click a button that it'll automatically feed that information directly into my CRM and directly into eMoney, and so it saves me a lot of time. Now, I think that the compliance piece is that it's not recording the entirety of the conversation.
Yeah.
I'd have to check with Zox on how they're handling with all that information. But for me as an advisor, it makes things so much easier to keep track of things. And the other nice thing preparing for meetings is that I can go into one place, it's called Zox, and I can have a conversation with it. So I've done this where, hey, I met with this client last fall.
Mm-hmm.
Did we talk about their estate plan? Did we? Do they have a trust? Do they have a will?
Oh, I love
I
that.
can't remember. And it will pull in meeting information from my notes from my CRM into it. And now I'm having a conversation with Zox like, did we talk about this? If we did, yes, we talked about it on such and such date. Here's the timestamp that we talked about it. Yes, they have a trust. Or if they don't, it'll say, no, this wasn't talked about, and here's all the information from your past meetings. So that's been super helpful too.
Nice. Oh, I love that. I love when it can just help you remember things from so long ago. Um,
Mhm.
Before AI, I used to be a sticky note person. So I'd always just have sticky notes and then I'd put them inside of like paper planners. And that
Hmm.
was my way of remembering what people said. And I'm so
Yeah.
happy now to have these systems where I can be like, oh, I think I talked to this person 6 months ago. What was it that they did? It's so nice
Yeah.
to
The other
have
nice
that.
thing too, because it's integrated with my Outlook, and so it knows when I have a meeting with this person again, and
Hmm.
so it'll notify me the day before, and it'll be like, "Hey, here's an email with your meeting preparation. So read this. This is what you
Hmm.
talked about last time." So it helps remind you, "Hey, you need to get prepared for your meeting tomorrow."
Yeah, no, I love that. The reminders, it's basically an assistant at that point. Like that is
Right.
acting as an assistant.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Another question I wanted to ask you that comes up a lot is, are you using AI for prospecting at all? It's a two-part question.
So I have looked into. So there's actually some systems out there that
Mhm.
that can do that, and I've looked into it. I haven't started it yet, but there's a new one out there called Finny that I
Okay.
just saw a couple weeks ago. That they had this funding round where it was all over my news anyway, that they raised $17 million, and so I started researching it. I'm not using any of those things at this time,
Yeah.
uh, but we'll see. I mean, as they get smarter and smarter. I think you were the one that told me a while ago about, was it Seamless?
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. That's kind of
um,
more like you can get like cold email lists type things and find
yeah,
the cool part about that is you can find people who are searching. They have like reverse search. So you can find people
yep,
who are searching specific key terms. So,
yeah, and that sounds like what Finny is as well.
oh,
It's
okay.
and so otherwise, as far as AI and looking for leads, that's where I'm trying to bump up all the SEO on my website at
Yeah,
this
no,
point.
that's smart. That's smart. Well, my other half of the question was going to be how can you prospect and do kind of like large outreach without losing that human touch? So, I don't know if you use Finny, what would you do to make sure that it doesn't seem automated or like a big blast type thing?
Well, no, that's a good question. So I don't know if it's necessarily using. What I'm trying to do right now is I signed up for like a lead generation program
Hmm.
recently. Now these are people that are filling out a form on a website
Hmm.
looking for an advisor.
Mm.
And so this one is more of like a warm lead, but I'm
Oh, nice.
also in competition with some other advisors on it. And so
Mm.
what I did is I signed up. As soon as it hits my inbox, this system immediately will send this person a text message, an email with my calendar link,
Okay.
and and then you can also include a video in that. And so I'm not using it yet, but I'm looking at one. It's called I think it's called Loom, is one of
Oh,
the
yeah.
ones that we're
I use
approved
Loom.
to use.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have an AI one that's supposed to make your videos look nice and things like that.
Hmm.
And so yeah, so I'm trying to hit them with my email, text message, phone call, and then within 24 hours, I'm going to send them a Loom video,
I love that.
to try to make it more personable.
Yep, that's great. I love that. I use Loom for like LinkedIn outreach type
Mm,
emails and things like that.
hmm.
Um, okay, I think so. One of the things that I've been helping people at Libra with is there's a lot of education components when you're talking to a prospect, right? So even me, I was a complete novice in your industry, still am to a lot of degrees. Uh, so when I did my first keynote for Libra last year, I heard the term annuities being thrown around. And I was like, I don't know what that is. I need to teach myself. And so I used Notebook LM to create this whole learning program for me about annuities. And I wanted to bring up Notebook LM because I know you've been using it as well. And I thought we could kind of dive into that tool and show people how you're using it. And then I could show people how I'm using it and just see, what
Yeah.
makes sense.
Jam, this is where our businesses collide because
Yes.
it's so funny. You did it to research annuities, and I did it to research marketing.
Yeah. See? That's so funny.
Do
I
you want
love
me to
that.
share my screen?
Yeah, if you could share your screen and then just show me kind of how you're using it. A lot of
Yeah.
people watching have never used Notebook LM before, so while you bring it up, I'll just give a little overview. Notebook LM is a Google product, and so it's free to use. And you can see over on the left hand side, it says sources. And so this is where you can add any sort of content. So it could be a video, a website, a PDF, it could be pasted content, it could be an audio file, and you put it there. And then that becomes your source that you're learning about. And so, Andy, I can't see because I'm far away from my screen right now, but what do you have in there for your sources?
Yeah. So um, there is an advisor that I guess it's his own blog, I guess, but
Mm-hmm.
people in the industry should be familiar with, I would think. His name's Michael Kitsis. So it's kitsis.com, and there's just a ton of information out there uh, with regards to like best practices for advisors and tax planning and the proper ways to run your business and marketing and things like that. And so over like 2 weeks, and Jam, I've got three little kids at home, but I kept seeing these articles pop up from the Kitsis website about how to how to how to do better with your marketing. And I thought, well, for me, I just rolled out this website. How do I really hone in on this?
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to read these articles. I didn't have time to sit and read all of them. And so I tried out this Notebook LM. I plugged in the three links to the articles that I wanted to read.
Mm-hmm.
And within a few minutes, it created a podcast, and you can create different versions of the podcast. But for
Mm-hmm.
me, it was perfect. So this was 14 minutes, which is about as long as it takes me to get from home to the office. And
Yeah.
so I plugged these articles in, and it created a podcast. And it's like it's AI, but it's a man and a woman. But I'm using it for it's educating me, and it helps me to hear them talking about these articles to where I can get some takeaways from it.
Oh, I love that. Can you play a little bit, like just 20 seconds so people can hear their
Sure.
voices?
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to focus on the silence.
The silence.
Yeah. You know that really specific kind of silence? Imagine this. You're a financial advisor. You've gone out on your own, started that boutique firm you've always dreamed of.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the certs, you've got the experience. You launched the website you just spent like 6 months and 5 grand on. You sit back, wait for the leads to just pour in.
And okay, it's
Total deafening silence.
yeah.
It is the absolute nightmare scenario for the learner we're talking to today. You know, they've built this beautiful storefront, but nobody's walking in.
It is such a common nightmare. You're really describing the digital business card problem.
Mm.
Most advisors.
I
I
love
mean,
that.
yeah, I mean, they were speaking to me. Like, I didn't even plug those prompts in there. I just threw in the articles, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, that's actually me over the last 6 months, you know?
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. And the what I love about the audio aspect is everybody's so busy, like we're all on the run, and it's so cool to be able to plug in very specific things that you have to learn and have a podcast that actually sounds good and engaging. Like they make jokes. It's great.
Yeah,
They, they should
it's
replace
very
us right now. Just kidding.
right. Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Well, and I'm looking too, Jam. I told you, I'm trying to do more of those blogs, but
mhm.
then I can also take my blog and plug it in here as well, and then I can
Yeah.
create a podcast. Even if it's a 5 minute podcast, then add that to my website and put it on LinkedIn, and it's just another way to try to get people to go to the website.
No, it's such a good idea just to give people so many different options to consume your content in whatever way
Hmm.
they want. I don't know if you
Hmm.
can zoom in at all, but I just wanted to show people the studio area. I know you don't have things generated
Oh,
right
on the
there,
right
but
here.
yeah, so on the right up top, Andy chose to do an audio overview, but it also does presentations with a slide deck. It does explainer videos. The mind maps are really cool. If you have a lot of sources, it'll outline like how they're all connected and how they work together. I'm a visual learner, so those are amazing. And then the reports tab, if you have a lot of content in there, you can really pick and choose what type of brief or report or blog you want to write from the content. Flashcards, quiz. The infographics are really good too. I have a couple I could show you guys. And then the data table, it'll take and create data if you are uploading, sources with numeric values. So yeah, it's cool. Very cool platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I think because I needed to upgrade my Gmail anyway for the how much storage,
Mm.
and to add this in here, it was like $3 a month, something like that, to get
Oh,
access to this.
oh,
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Yeah, so if you are a G Suite user, like if it's your business email, it comes with it. But otherwise, you had to pay. I see it says plus up there on the top. So
I think you can do it for free. I was messing around with it on some other stuff,
yeah,
and it only lets you do like 3 podcasts in 24 hours or something like that. And I was kicking the tires, and then I saw, oh, for $3 a month, I can increase this.
got it. Got it. Let me share my screen while we're talking about Notebook, just so I can show them these other things the studio can make too,
Yeah.
because it's so cool. All right. So here's my annuities notebook. I really went all in. I think I have quite a lot of
Wow.
sources over here, maybe like 30. And we didn't really talk about the chat part, but this is where you can ask specific questions about those. And you can always select a specific source as well. So if you just wanted to ask, you know, maybe what DNVR has posted on a blog about annuities, I would check that. So this is where you can chat. But then the studio part, I already had these created. So here's a explainer video. Might take a minute to load.
Hello and welcome. So, you've probably heard the word annuity thrown around, right? Especially when people talk about retirement.
I'm not going to make you guys watch it, but it's just pretty much, text on
Is
screen
deciding
type thing.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that. That's cool.
And you can see this was actually a long time ago. This was 6 months ago that I did this. And so the ones now are way better because they use Nano Banana, which is their new image generation tool.
Hmm.
And I just want to show the mind map. So you can like zoom in and out, but here's an annuity, and you could go into the definition. You could go into key participants, who's it for, phases. This is actually, out of everything, this is what helped me kind of understand this whole thing. Because you can just click in and see how they all work together. So yeah, everyone has a different way to learn. So thinking about your industry as a whole, you guys are bringing some pretty much foreign concepts to people sometimes. And so
Hmm.
this is a good tool to create content for your prospects or clients. Even bring it to a meeting if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's a good point too, Jam, because I got my Series 7 last year, and
Mm-hmm.
I was actually talking about this with somebody this morning. I took the study guide and I put it into ChatGPT, and
Oh
then
yeah.
I told it, I said, I want you to be my coach. And so I would get a question, or I would have a concept in the material, and I couldn't quite wrap my head around it. And so then I would I would ask it questions like, okay, well, how am I supposed to remember this? Like, can you give me another example? Like, or share with me, other ways people learn about this stuff.
Yeah.
And it was great to just have that there to ask questions to.
Yeah. No, that is such a great use case for studying. There's so many people who have been doing that and acing their tests and also saving money because I know there's multiple third parties that's their whole business is creating study guides and tools and sorry for them, but we don't really need that anymore so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you tell somebody who's in your industry that says they don't have time to learn AI or they're too old to learn it or they're not technical enough?
Oh, I would just tell them to just start with one thing. Like
Mm,
even that's the stuff in Notebook LM that you were just showing, it was like blowing my mind. And I was
yeah.
like, oh, I didn't know you could do all those things, and I didn't know you could do the video. I would just start small. I would start with like a ChatGPT or a Claude. It's 20 bucks a month to get like sort of the professional level ones, and then just start chatting with it. Obviously, it's up to you how much information you want to give it about yourself, but just about anything really,
Yeah.
you can have a discussion about it. I mentioned my refrigerator at the beginning of this. It helped me figure out or find a video on YouTube to how to get in, and instead of paying the refrigerator repairman 500 bucks, I was able to fix it for 100 bucks. You
Hmm.
know, and
Yeah.
so I would start there, and then you can start to find, oh wait, I could, what about this or what about that?
Yeah.
Like for my business, I didn't even think about doing this, but 6 months ago, I got a new client, and he had a bunch of incentive stock options and restricted stock options. And with incentive stock options, they were granted to him in 2017, so he's got 10 years to exercise this stock,
Mm.
and he hasn't exercised any of it, and the stock price has gone up significantly. So he's going to run
Yeah.
into some tax issues, or if he doesn't exercise, he's going to lose them. And
Hmm.
we're talking close to $1 million of stock that he had.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so I took the information, I took the share price, and I just I went into Claude. Claude seems like, I don't know, a little, yeah, you know more about this than I do, but for whatever reason, I was talking to somebody and they said, oh, try to plug that into Claude and see what happens.
Yeah.
And it's a lot like ChatGPT, but I think maybe a little bit better on the technical side of things. And it helped me come up with a presentation for this client to simplify my presentation to them,
Hmm.
to be able to explain to them, like, here's what you're running into, here's a strategy, here's why you want to do this, here's what happens if you don't do it. And it was just a matter of just getting into the chat and having a conversation, and asking it questions. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so that's where I would say to as a good place to start for people.
That's such a good idea. And I think just in general, like your clients who aren't into finance, me, uh, and people like me, we glaze over sometimes when we're being explained really important things. And so it's really nice to have these ways to have it really simplified bullet points. Like that's
Hmm.
great. And I like your advice of just start with one thing. And the fun part for me with all these AI tools is that the more you use it, the more it gets to know you too. And I'm sure you've seen this as well, but in January, there was a trend going around where you would ask ChatGPT or Claude, like, tell me about my year in 2025. How have I grown? Like, what have we done together? And it did
Uh-huh.
like a whole overview. Did you do that?
No.
I did it and I almost cried because it like knew me so well. And
I'm afraid to ask.
you're talking about like your refrigerator and your work and when you start to use AI and you get in the habits of using it, it becomes like a partner in a way. And so it knew everything about my last year and it was just like really interesting to see how it summarized it and then also gave me a lot of kudos and a pat on the back and
Yeah.
things that other people don't really know I went through. And in my community where I teach AI, everyone was posting their 2025 overview and so many people were like, I cried. It's so good.
Uh-huh.
So, well,
Yeah.
speaking of just trying, I'm going to do just one more share. I want to just make sure people have seen this. This is the Libra Partners training program, AI training program. And Andy, you'll get this because we all know to stay up to date with AI, it's just something you have to do every day. And so in here, we have a 60-day training, and it literally takes you 5 to 10 minutes to do each one every day. And then you get a lesson, a challenge, and a way to apply it, both beginner and intermediate. And then when you're done, you can complete it and get some confetti and go back to your work. But the biggest thing is just to continue to learn every single day and practice it. So, wanted to show that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, Andy, thank you so much. Did you have anything else you wanted to share before we?
There was one other
Oh,
thing,
okay.
just real quick, that I think would be really
Yeah.
beneficial to the Libra folks
Oh, tell us.
is um, I wanted to show real quick. So I was using Claude, and I don't know, just this is just 2 weeks ago. Um, if we're selling insurance and long-term care, uh, I had an illustration, and I just thought, what if I plug this illustration into Claude and create a presentation for this client? And I don't know how the partners typically sell their cases or present cases to clients, but usually you have to show them an illustration, and the illustrations can be cumbersome and people get confused, and there's all these nuances to it. And I thought there's got to be a way to simplify this. Obviously, I'm still showing them the illustration, but I uploaded this. I took the client name off of it, and I uploaded it into Claude. And this is if I can find my
Your screen.
screen now, or my window. Let me do this. Here it is. Um, can you see this okay?
It is, yes, now I can see it.
So I uploaded the illustration. So anybody can do this. I uploaded this into Claude, and it took all of the information from the illustration, and I said, hey, my client is interested in long-term care. Can you give me some statistics? What is the cost today in the state of Colorado for long-term care? What's the cost going to be estimated in 15 years, in 20 years? And it, and I said, can you create a presentation for me? So it put this together, and I'll just run through it real fast. But here's some stats on the average care. Here's what the current cost of care is. Here's what the projected cost of care is.
Oh, wow.
And then what really sold it was this piece where I asked it, I said, okay, if a person doesn't have long-term care, where does the money come from to pay for it? And it created this slide for me. And obviously I combed through this to edit it for the client. But this was one of the first times I've gone through a long-term care presentation with a client where at that moment he goes, oh yeah, let's get an application in. Like, I want to do this.
Oh,
And so
nice.
you could, I mean, it just helps save so much time. I think I did this 30 minutes before the meeting. I was just going to go through the illustration, and I thought, well, let me see what this can do. And so I shared this with him, and we went through it, and here's what the benefit pool is, and the annual premiums, and things like that. So anyway, there's so many things you can do, and like I said, the client's name wasn't on it, but we can run thousands of illustrations for clients. And so this is pretty easy to do, and this might be an easier way for the Libra partners to be able to help sell some of this stuff.
That is such a great use case, and I've actually helped a couple partners do this exact thing. So kudos to you. That's a great way
Oh,
to
nice.
use Claude. Yeah. And also the design, like it looks so good. I know if you
Yeah.
use Canva or other things, it can be so time consuming
No,
to,
this was all Claude.
yeah.
It did the whole thing. I didn't have to edit any of the design.
Yeah. And then it looks like you downloaded it. Now it's just a PowerPoint type
That's
deal.
right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Awesome. Well, Andy, anything else you want to share with us today?
No, that's all I got, Jam, unless you need anything else.
No, I mean, your advice to just start in one tool is amazing for people who haven't started yet. And you just having some real life use cases is huge, because I think oftentimes people will sit through an AI presentation and be like, that's cool, but how can I actually use it? So you showing was really, really valuable today. So I really appreciate you, and thank
Good.
you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Yeah, bye bye.